Hello, nerds, freaks, geeks, basement dwellers, and gamers. Welcome to Scruffy Gaming. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And as the thumbnail suggests, we are once more going to be talking about Squad, my opium online, my go-to game. I played a game of Chora slash Chora last night, and it was a classic game when Squad is at its worst, when command chat is nothing but profanity, arguments, and squad leaders and commander not working together. They're just arguing, and everything just breaks down. Uh, but I will go into the situation, how it played out, and what I did to show the team how to, avoid that situation, and how you can bypass the meat grinder and set up habs in order to win the game, or at least bypass the meat grinder and then push on and try and get the next 1 or 2 points. So this is the game, and this is what happened and how I suggested it should have been handled. So yeah, played a game of Chora last night, and it was an absolute shit show. I mean, command comms was just people arguing, yelling at each other, uh, no, uh, mouthing off. Yes, it was just no coordination. Everyone was annoyed. It was a real squad at its worst. So what happened was we played this later on Chora, and things were going kind of okay. We made it all the way to radio station, and we actually took Upper Orchard. Things were going fine. We had a hab here that allowed us to begin pushing on Upper Orchard. We had a hab on point on radio as backup, and we actually I helped guide in Lodge actually down to nursery. Um, it was a different squad that made the decision though to come down this way. So I'm not gonna take credit for it. I just ran escort with an MRAP. We made it to nursery and set up a hab while they were beginning to push back on Orchard, and we were like 2-3% away from achieving a double neutral, and then they capped Upper Orchard, and then of course it all fell apart and the team turned on itself. The other team set up shop here, as they always do, to attack radio station, and they began pushing hard into radio. We were trying to push from Upper Orchard to reclaim it, but it wasn't working. I mean, it is open ground here. It's a difficult approach going uphill here, and when they have adequate defenses, it's tough nut to crack coming in this way. I don't know. That's what always happen. I don't know why. I mean, it's convenient to have the hab here, but making that push if they are established. We were Americans, they were PMC, by the way. Pushing up this hill, it is difficult. So we weren't making headway. And they were overrunning radio station. And sure enough, the team broke down. Everyone was complaining, and they took radio station and then managed to push on to threaten hemp farm. We were holding hemp. I believe we had a wrong color. Let's use this one. We had a hab up here, if I'm not mistaken, so we could support hemp, and they were pushing in from the west. I guess they may. I don't know if this area here was blocked by their radios, but they were pushing in this way on hemp, and we tried to set up a hab here to push in on radio when it had been taken over by the other team. And then they, of course, they had taken down this fob and this fob in the process. And now there was a meat grinder, as I call it. It always devolves into a meat grinder on this map, doesn't it? Between these points, I hope you can see the yellow here. This is where the meat grinder ended up becoming in effect, where both teams just pile in troops between the points, maybe moving through cover here on the flanks to come in on the different habs and points and what have you. But essentially, this is what always happens. You have a meat grind between the points, like I've mentioned in my previous videos, right? And I didn't want to join in on the bullshit discussions going on, even though I kind of did at the end. What I did was what I tell people to do on this map, like I've talked about in videos. Let's see, which color should I be? I'm gonna be dark blue is me. I grabbed a transport truck, not to piss anyone off by grabbing a Logi. The Logis had been destroyed in the middle of the map by the other team's infiltrators. But I took a transport just to prove my point without saying anything beforehand. So I moved up, came up this way, like I always do, come up to the northern part of the map. The northern part of the map is the fastest way to travel back and forth. Hands down, you can't convince me otherwise. You avoid the mines, you avoid their engineers, you avoid anyone trying to sneak their way through to disrupt logistics and what have you. There's 8 or 9 times out of 10 you won't run into people along this northern route nor the southern one. But the northern route, sorry, I can use this northern route here, it's flat, it's wide, and you can go full tilt with any vehicle from up here all the way to Upper Orchard. So this is what I did. I understood though that I would have more than likely the enemy infantry moving here in this area trying to reach Hemfarm. I realized that, so I knew I had to go full tilt. I could not crash into rocks or trees. I just had to go full blitz to make it through. So that is what I did with my transport truck. Came up here, moved past here, and around here is where I was beginning to take small arms fire, as I had expected. Yes, one lucky shot, I would have fallen out of the truck and they would have stopped me. But going full tilt, I made it past, got here and made it up past Upper Orchard and came in down behind the other team. And I told them, hey, take a look where I am. Imagine if I had a Logi, I could have placed 2 or 3 habs behind the other team, and we could overwhelm their habs, we could overwhelm the points, and we could turn the game around. And then one guy started arguing that this here is how you win on this map. The meat grinder, establishing one secure front line. And I was like, it's a meat grinder, you're just going to waste tickets doing only that. Truth be told, it is the meat grinder that allows this move to be successful because everyone is focused here, right? Hardly anyone pays attention to either the northern part or the southern part. So the meat grinder is important for the flanking move to actually work. But when you do get around behind the meat grinder and set up habs behind them, that is when you can overwhelm their habs, their radios from behind and push in on the active points, right? So I could have maybe built a hab here, and maybe, I don't know, maybe here. I don't really like this position, but technically speaking, building the hab in the middle there, you can push on radio. From here you can push on Orchard, and you can make a move on Nursery, and you can move through cover once you get across the streams. I don't like this island because open ground around it. So yes, once you get across the streams, you're in cover and whatnot, but you get my point, right? It's not the best position to place a hab. Maybe rather have on Hab here on Upper Orchard, and maybe have a Hab closer to their Hab, so you can quickly move in, knock it out, and push in from behind on radio station. Now their Habs are gonna be somewhere on Orchard, somewhere close to Nursery, and they have a farther way to run to reach radio. They might overrun your Hab close to radio, but hopefully you can, instead of pushing radio, maybe set up a defensive line. Let's use green instead. Defensive line, a lot of drawings here now. Defensive line here to keeping them at bay outside of the Hab and radio, and allowing your other primary attack Hab to successfully push in and secure the point. This is one hell of a drawing, isn't it? So, but the thing is, when the yellow box begins, the meat grinder, when no one makes any headway and you're just losing tickets on this map, you need to take a logi and try and come around to the north, depending on the layer and what have you, and where they have their Habs and everything. Try and come around on the north or the south, depending on layer and situation, and get one or two Habs behind them, so you can overwhelm their Habs when they are totally focused on this meat grinder wherever it has appeared on the map, right? So that you can ease up the pressure, come in behind, force them to allocate manpower elsewhere, and hopefully this will help you push in on the point, and they will have to rely on Habs further away, and it will take longer for them to run to the active point. And as they're crossing these streams, you can have marksmen, you can have machine gunners and everything set up, waiting for them to move across these open spaces. Makes sense, right? So yes, I played a game of Chora/Chora. It was a shit show because the team broke down, got trapped in the meat grinder, and did not think outside of the box how to bypass the other team and set up a safe Hab where we could spawn in and have a more direct approach onto enemy Habs and onto active points. So a bit of a tactical breakdown of the game, how it played out, and how bad squad leaders got into each other's faces online and started yelling and did not cooperate, did not try and find a solution. And it's kind of funny though that when I did show them that I could have placed Habs in very good positions where the other team did not expect it, they got mad, or at least one guy, and argued it was a bad idea because they wanted to push through the meat grinder instead of having a very easy path onto the point where there were no other players in the way. I don't know, but if you happen to watch it, I know the channel is kind of small, but if you happen to watch it, let me know what you think about what I showed you on the drawings and my solution to the problem. Anyway, that's going to have to be it. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.